We'll get started. We'd like to welcome Talor Gooch into our virtual interview room, the winner of the 2021 RSM Classic, his first PGA Tour victory, and he moves to the top of the FedEx Cup standings. Talor, congratulations on stepping into the winner's circle. If we could get some comments.
I mean, first time win on the PGA Tour to finish the season off this fall season like I just did. I mean, it's a dream come true. I've thought about these types of interviews my whole life, sitting in the showers, giving my winning speech, my winning interview. So it's an absolute dream come true.
And as I mentioned, you moved to the top of the FedEx Cup standings. Talk a little bit about what this does now for your season and also in terms of changing your goals for the year.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, it's going to get me into, some tournaments I wasn't into prior to this week. I want to get to Atlanta. I want to get to the Tour Championship, and this, puts me a little bit ahead of the ball game for that journey. And so the goal is to win the Tour Championship, and you can't do that unless you win a golf tournament. So we're off on a good foot.
And speaking of journey, just sort of take us through your journey from qualifying tournament, just in terms of getting here to the PGA Tour and now winning.
Yeah, I turned pro in 2014, and I didn't get through Q school until 2016, and so I had a couple of years, let's just say lean years, where there was a lot of doubt that would creep in, and so I had to learn how to believe in myself in some tough times, and I was able to get through Q school and get to the web.com, which is now the Korn Ferry Tour, in 2017, and then got my card after 1 year, and I just started my 5th season on tour. So it's been a journey for sure, and I wouldn't have it any other way though.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll open it up to questions, and we will start with Gary Smith from the Jacksonville Times Union.
How you doing? Congratulations, Taylor.
Thank you.
Want to know, you're talking about you haven't been in this position before on Sundays, but your two playing partners didn't go away. They were playing pretty well. Mackenzie was still out there making birdies. And then about the time you were making a turn, Tyler was putting for a 59.
Yeah.
Just wondering, how much leaderboard watching did you do, and how much were you aware of what was going on around you, and did that affect what you were doing out there?
Yeah, I mean, you're always aware, at least I am. I always kind of keep an eye on things, but it doesn't change what you're doing. I knew from the beginning of the day, I kind of had 20 in my mind. I was like, if I can get to 20, that's gonna make the rest of the field have to do something good. And so you kind of have that number in mind, but as I proved, you almost put limitations on yourself if you start thinking about scoreboards and start thinking about scores and whatnot. So you're aware of the leaderboard, but it doesn't really affect what you're doing and until the last couple holes if things start getting tight. So you're aware of what's going on, but it doesn't really change your game plan.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Shane Ryan from Golf Digest.
Hey Taylor, I just noticed that this happens to be your first full tournament in your 30s. And I know, it's just a number, but as an introspective guy, I'm wondering, last week when you turned 30, did you have any thoughts about that? And then just maybe some thoughts too on a pretty good way to start a decade. I
mean, apparently when you turn 30, you just have an abundance of wisdom that comes to you. I played very wise golf this week. We had a tough week on the weekend last week, and my birthday was on Sunday. And we were hopeful, we talked about wanting to get a win in before you turn 30, but the golf gods like to make you chuck on occasion, so they wanted to wait until a week after. But it is my mom's birthday today, so it's a nice little birthday present for her.
Cool. And then, the other question for you, the obvious one is just, you kind of would expect some nerves out there, and from the outside looking in, you seemed extremely calm, but just curious what was going on inside your head.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you don't have nerves, you got something wrong with you. So everybody handles nerves and pressure differently, and I've through time figured out a way to channel those thoughts and those feelings, those nerves, into a good way. And I try to be as calm and cool and as collected as I can, and I know that my golf will benefit the calmer, cooler, and more collected I can stay. I wish I could be like Tiger and throwing fist bumps around everywhere, but I've learned through experience that I can't handle those highs and then come back down and hit a golf shot very well after that. So I have to kind of stay calm, and even though on the outside it may look calm, there's definitely some water churning on the inside, and it's, I mean, like I said, everybody's got nerves, and you just have to learn how to handle it.
And then quickly, it just so happened on the last 2 days that anytime someone got close to you, it seemed like you responded to the birdie, and that may be just coincidence. So I was curious if you were aware of that, like if you watched the scoreboard and say, okay, someone's within 2, and if that had any effect, do you think?
You know, like I said, you're aware of what's going on a little bit, and so you know, a couple times in the last couple of days, like you said, you know, there's a couple times where a guy might have gone in within 1 or 2 shots of me, and you know, I did kind of notice that we were able to respond well, and so, you know, I don't think that's planned, but you just do your best to do your best, and you know, usually when you win by a few shots on the PGA Tour, you got a lot of good stuff going your way, and this week it just happened to be, you know, in those spots where it seemed like things might be getting a little bit tight.
Thanks a lot, Talor. Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Adam Shupak with Golf Week.
Congratulations, Taylor.
Thanks.
Just curious, how did your winter speech go? Was it anything like how you envisioned it in the shower all those times?
Well, I've given about 30 different speeches, I feel like now. So collectively, I've kind of touched base on everything I've wanted to, I think. So, no, I mean, it's like I told Davis whenever I walked up, I'm like, dude, I watched you win the Players Championship. Like, you know, for me to win your tournament, that's special. And so it might not, my speech might not have gone exactly verbatim how I had envisioned it, but I've envisioned it 1,000 different ways. So I'm just grateful to be able to give a winter speech.
Okay. And you mentioned yesterday being kind of down to your last dollars. How did you fund your career when you got out here?
So out of school, I signed a deal with Callaway that they helped me get going, and you know, I made a few bucks here and there on mini tours and PGA Tour Canada, McKenzie Tour, and so I was making enough money to stay afloat. But like I said, it was dwindling down to the bare minimum towards the end of 2016. But I was able to make a few bucks on the mini tours to help keep me alive.
And what is the status of the buddies trip that seemed to conflict with Maui?
Well, I have my phone in my back pocket, and my phone's buzzing away. I'm sure a few of those buzzes are coming from my buddies. We were chatting last night, and they had all basically said, "Hey, we're hoping to move this buddies trip to a different time." So they will be one of the first people I respond to and tell them, "All right, we got to figure out a plan B now."
Maui, maybe.
Hey, get them out to Maui. Let's make it happen.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Sean Martin from PGAtour.com.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You said you had to learn how to believe in yourself. How did you do it? Was it advice from someone or something you read, or how did you go about doing that?
Man, since I was 13 years old, until recently, I had the same swing coach. His name is Steve Ball, and we worked as much on the mental side of things as we did on the mechanics and, you know, physical side of things. And you know, he taught me from an early age, you know, how critical it is to, you know, pre-shot routines and, you know, believing and confidence and, you know, getting negative thoughts out of your mind and whatnot. And so, you know, for me, it's been a journey since I was 13. You know, we're all have a little bit of cockiness in us at some point, but like I talk about, there's a difference between confidence and belief. And confidence will come and go, but belief is everlasting. And so you have to, on the PGA Tour, to be a stable, you have to have belief in yourself. And it's something that comes from within, but also comes through experience and time and proving to yourself that you can do it. So it's been a journey to build the self-belief.
And being around athletes, between your dad, JT, Sam Bradford, like what influence does all those athletes have in just this journey of professional golf to get to here?
Yeah, I mean, they all, I think I kind of embody what they all do from how they conduct themselves, how they handle themselves. You know, never get too high, never get too low. You never want your opponent, you never want, another competitor to see you down, to see negative body language. And so that's been, a takeaway from my dad, all these great athletes that I've been, fortunate to spend time with is, don't get down, don't let anyone see you're down. You can get a little frustrated, but get right back up and dust yourself off and get going.
But how do you think growing up at Joseph Conrad influenced you?
Oh, man. Days like today, playing in the wind, it's a great golf course, but let's just say the conditions are not PGA Tour conducive. And so I love when we play weeks where the conditions aren't perfect and you get some unfortunate lies and you might get a little bad bounce here or there or, whatever it may be. And so, growing up, not a country club kid, it just builds a different type of toughness in you than kids that grew up on country clubs with nice greens and Pro Vs on the range and all that. So I'm super grateful for everything that we have here on the tour, and I think that gratitude pays dividends, on days like today.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, we'll take a couple more before we wrap up. Let's go back to Adam Shupak.
Can you pinpoint when you felt like you learned to control your emotions? On the golf course, anyway?
Yeah, so it's a funny story. Back in high school, I used to play a lot of racquetball with my dad, and he would whip my butt. My dad is 63, so 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 14 years ago, he still wasn't a young man. He wasn't an old man, but he wasn't a young man, and he was still whipping my butt. And so I didn't take it very well. I broke a couple rackets. I had to go pay for those rackets, and I quickly learned whenever I didn't get so ticked off at myself that I was able to compete with him a little bit better and a little bit better. And the times where I would get too upset, too mad, it just shut me down. And so it wasn't even it wasn't from golf that I learned how to control my emotions. It was literally racquetball playing with my dad. If it wasn't for my dad whipping my butt in racquetball, I don't know if I would have ever learned, how to manage my emotions and frustrations, which is a huge key on the golf course.
Very relatable story. And then how difficult was it to make the coach change?
It was something that had, it was really difficult, and I still talk to Steve and we stay in touch, and he's been almost like a second father to me, and so he's going to be one of the people I call almost immediately at the end of the day. But it was something I'd been thinking about for a while of who would be the best guy to make that transition to. I wasn't looking for an overhaul by any means, and I wasn't looking for a very mechanical, technical coach. I'm very much a feel player, and so I wanted someone who was not going to complicate the game, someone who was going to, keep it simple and kind of let me be an athlete on the golf course. And so, Boyd Summerhays, who I started working with, he fit the mold for that, and so it worked out very well, and it was a pretty seamless transition.
Ever been to Augusta?
I have. We played Augusta State's tournament back my freshman and sophomore year when I was at Oklahoma State, and so we played tournament Saturday, Sunday, and then go to the practice round on Monday. So I have not played the course, but I have been. So I vowed to not play the golf course until I was going to be actually playing there for the tournament. So I'm excited for that.
Thanks very much.
Okay, well, congratulations once again to Talor Gooch. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, guys.